So I watched a Bro OSR member, Scruffy or Mike or whatever it is. The way he types on X is not how he talks directly. Like he can talk, he can type like he's talking rough. But then when I hear him speak, he's like a sweetheart, nice guy, right? I went and watched him run Shadow Dark, and he told me something. He came by a stream I was doing, and he said how he does social interaction and character development, and he's a 1E AD&D guy. And I'm like, well, that's very second edition of you. Fair enough that you told me that. I appreciate that. I watched him run the Shadow Dark thing, so I'm wondering, is Shadow Dark, do you do descriptive damage with Shadow Dark, or is that something Mike himself is doing? And if he does that, that is more second edition. That's not AD&D 1. AD&D 1 is like exhaustion. You don't really have to do a lot of descriptive damage, right? It's not really a thing in old school. If you're really around AD&D 1E guys back in the 80s, I mean, the majority of them do exhaustion. Like, you're not really taking a lot of descriptive damage. I seen him doing damage in the game where it's like, oh, you cut the arm off a kobold. And I'm like, oh man, you can do a lot with that stuff. I don't know if he does. You know, I've been DMing since 1991. And I see a young DM like that, and I'm like, I like some of the things he's doing. I would love to run a game for him, just because I think I could get rid of some of the rough patches, right? But, I mean, I don't know if he has a big ego. I hope he doesn't. Some guys do, right? So, when I came into the hobby, my elders were people I respected. So, I never had that issue. No matter how good I thought I was always ready to listen to a guy who had been doing the gimmick for longer than I have. I always hope guys like that are willing to listen to a guy like me, right, who's been doing the gimmick a lot longer than he has. I see really good things. I like the way he handled questions. So there was players throwing questions at him where it's like, you don't ask, you do. And they're asking him like, hey, could you give me the answer? It's like, no, dude, you got to say what you got to do. It's the habit you want them doing, not asking. But he had a lot of players asking him things they should just be saying they do. But he handled that pretty well. Not too bad. One thing I would be a little critical of him on is rushing into the fight, like rushing kobolds at them. You know, I always say you should be giving players like any noise or any time they have to notice something, see something before you say, they see the kobolds and they throw piss. Another thing I don't like is like being able to light a fire in the middle of combat, taking out a flint and steel, and you gotta, I'm like, dude, that's a lot of work to be doing in a single round. But I guess maybe the rules to that game are it. Shadow Dark is too watsy for me. They had these luck things that gave them second chances. I'm like, oh, no, okay, that's right away that starts off being too watsy. And then he says something at one point. Well, they have to, one of the players has to roll something. He says, you could choose what stat and what bonus, like what ability score. And I'm like, ooh, get that away from me right away. That's not TSR. And I don't know how much of an AD&D 1E guy he is. He has a little bit of a mindset towards second edition AD&D. And I'm like, man, like, I don't know, if you do descriptive combat, like where it's cut the arm off, or anything like that, that's more common with second edition DMs than it ever has been with a first edition AD&D DM. And any experienced AD&D 1E DM will agree with me. Most guys back in the old school era did hit point exhaustion. It's not like, it's not always considered damage you're taking. Like, to them, death is really quick. So the idea is you're exhausted, you're down to one hit point, you get hit, you go down to the zero, you fall and die. That's really the real, like, that's where you get stabbed in the chest and you die right away. Like, most of the rest of it will just be ignored. Like, you're tired. You're losing hit points from being bounced around, blocking things. You're not getting stabbed in the neck. You're not. And when he was given descriptive damage, and I don't know how much he makes that affect the game. Is that just for fun, or does he make that real? Like a lot of second edition DMs like me, if I say you're taking damage, that's real because I have authority. And then I decide what that is. Like if you cut the arm off a kobold and blood squirts out, Well, the kobold next to him might slip on that blood and fall. Right. There's a chance that's going to happen because whatever I say becomes reality in the game. It's not just fluff or color to make it sound interesting. He was also doing pure theater of the mind combat. Not bad. But yeah, Shadow Dark, ooh. It's just not my cup of tea. I realized that right away. Too watsy for me. Not my gimmick. I'm TSR. When it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, I'm too much TSR. Like, I even hate the 5e stuff that I did. I thought that was, like, bland. But I would like to talk to Mike. I would love to run him, because I'm like, well, you're just a bro OSR guy, but you're just running a normal session, and then there's downtime. Well, I do that without the one-to-one, because Gary only put that stuff in there for guys that wouldn't instinctively do something similar on their own, but creative guys like me, I move time, I play with time in a way that I don't need the one-to-one time thing. That's just for guys that aren't doing it. So when people say, oh, it's a nice experience, yeah, if you're meeting DMs that just don't naturally do this creatively, then it becomes interesting because it's new to you because you're meeting a lot of DMs that don't do it. Like a DM like me, I don't need the one-to-one time because I manage time as it is already in unique ways. Gary Gygax understood there were guys like me out there. Like, I mean, you can't run into Frank Metzner and other people that he was around and not know there's not going to be other creative people out there that just handle this shit in their own way and are creative enough to do this. It's just a lot of stuff you've seen in AD&D, this is the truth, a lot of stuff was for guys that wouldn't naturally do it. And that's a lot of people. So how do you get a guy who's not so creative to do something creative? You got to put that in the rules in the game. Especially for the tournament play where they want that stuff to happen, which is what a lot of the bros are pushing with the one-to-one time is tournament play, shared world tournament play. It's not actually meant for the home table. You can use a bit of one-on-one time, but it's loose, and really that's up to you, and loose as in either you're doing your own thing, but if you're not, even at home, if you're not being creative, even at home, this can put time into a situation where it's moving ahead, you're not just stuck in summer. So it's to get rid of that. But for guys like me, he knew right away one-to-one time is like no good. Right? I'm not going to do, unless I'm doing a shared world, I might want to borrow elements of that so it could help me. But for the most part, guys like me, he knows, are just like, yeah, you don't need it, Steven. This is for the guys that just don't do this stuff on their own. Right? So I've always gotten that, and I've never tried to judge people. But I thought Scruffier Mike was okay. Like, he's okay. Could be a really great DM, but it's like, dude, what you're doing, that's what I was doing in 1991. So I've had a lot of years to do what you're doing. I would love to run a short couple of sessions, a second edition for the guy. I mean, I would love to, because his mindset is more second edition than first edition. He said to me, I'm an AD&D 1E guy, but then he says something about character development, and I'm like, he goes, I do that right away. I'm like, well, you wouldn't do that if you're an AD&D 1E guy. That's a second edition gimmick. So, I think maybe Scruffier Mike might be more suited to second edition than he was to 1E. As far as the downtime thing, when you see how casual it's used, you're not so impressed by it. I do some similar shit to it, so it's like, good, I'm glad you use it. Not insulting anyone. But there's a lot of guys I've seen over the years. Like, when I came in, we had mentors. We had the older guys that would really teach you the shit. Show you the ropes. And nobody had an argument. No, there was no big egos, big heads that would stop you. And it is a shame when I see big egos around here, especially with the YouTube competition and the way things work on the internet. I would like to be a guy who has a lot of experience and could look at a guy like Mike and go, man, I could help you with your monster gimmick. You're rushing too fast. That's a bit too much. I hope you don't. Maybe you don't do that with AD&D 1E. I hated that when I was younger. It's like you see a monster around the corner. He's a spur down. Suddenly, like, it's roll initiative. But wait, dude. Wait, DM. Don't I get time to do something or react? What he did handle well again is his players asking him to give them answers so they don't have to think for themselves. that was a few of his players that were asking questions like that. And it's like good that he's reacting without giving answers. There was one case where I felt he gave an answer he shouldn't have. Like he gave a reply where it should have been like, no, dude, you got to figure that out. Take your action, take your chance, sort it out, right? And there's some parts where, I don't know, the way he handles it is too quick. They push a cage over. The way gems go down. His explanation's a little vague for me, but his players are taking it in. Give me a campaign with the guy. Give me a campaign with the guy. And all those rough edges, he'll see how a guy like me has already been through them. I've already cleaned up all of that. So he's doing things that I did in 1991, and I could show him how to clean all that up. I have a lot of wisdom dealing with players too. Oh my. That guy has some potential. Some real potential to be decent. It's just you hope he doesn't have a big hit, because I have potential too. And when I listen, it improved me. To guys that have been in the hobby for 10, 20 years. No ego. Again, I see Mike type a few things where I'm like, I see the type and I'm like, man, geez, what an attitude. And then I hear him talk. I was really polite to him. I went over and subbed to his channel, and I liked his stream, and I watched him running, and I never said anything that would harm the session. It's out of habit. Even if they say, go ahead, say whatever, I wouldn't. I'm not there to bust your bubble. I'm there to just lurk, take it in, and not judge on the spot. I'm one of these guys that I'll talk to you later. Like, I'm not going to try to hurt your confidence in the middle of a fucking session, right? I don't do that. I'm not going to criticize in the middle of a session. I don't troll. I went over there to watch, and it's like, take it in. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? 1E AD&D, your second edition. I can see it and hear it. Oh, Mike, you don't even know, do you, kid? Like, you've not, I don't know who, maybe you have not seen too many games. I'm not trying to insult you, but you really don't know, do you? You're not 1E at all. I mean, you got some, I guess you do training and that. I mean, some light 1E stuff, but you have a mindset for second edition. And the stuff you're doing is what 1E AD&D DMs opposed to with second edition guys. They were mad because we would do some of the stuff I see you doing. And like that, the character development thing, that is pure second edition. That in real AD&D 1E, the concept of the role play that you see focus on identity in the person, the concept doesn't even exist as a push until second edition. It would take AD&D 1E DMs 10 months, 8 months, maybe a year, for players to really get in and play their character long enough, if they stayed without the campaign falling apart, to develop a character. Most AD&D 1E games, campaigns, broke down. They never got to that stage. Once it did, when they get to that stage, the connection is formed, and those players will usually stay close, most likely to the end of the campaign. What the second edition guys figured out when they were making the game was that connection keeps players around. And so most campaigns are falling apart. How do we get most campaigns to be completed? Well, the connection to the character seems to get players to the end of a campaign, right? So the sooner you can make that happen, the more secure the game would be. Because a lot of games broke down before the 8, 10, 12 months line where you really develop a character somewhat. So in second edition, you'll develop a character really quickly. And you're meant to focus on it instead of it just something sort of vaguely happening. See, it wasn't pushing AD&D 1E, so you have to have a character survive. And then you've got to have it vaguely happen where you keep doing the role playing, you keep doing stuff with the character, and then you vaguely get there. With second edition, it just understood that is so important. We got to get you there early so the campaign doesn't break down early. So most campaigns for second edition would be completed compared to the AD&D 1E campaigns that I've seen. And it would surprise 1E AD&D DMs that so many second edition campaigns got completed. They were amazed. It's why second edition was so strong and kept being played right up until the early 2000s. And even when third edition came out in person and online, second edition stayed competing with third edition for a good 5 to 8 years. A lot of people forget that detail. As many third edition games as there were, or even 3.5, second edition was quite strong. You go to places where the gaming was going on, barely any OD&D or BECME or AD&D 1, but you'd see shitloads of second edition And when 3rd edition came out, that starts competing with 2nd edition. But that's it. 2nd edition stays strong, and the reason it stayed strong is because it got things, certain valuable things right. All right. I would love to run a actual gaming session for a guy like Mike. I would, and it's not ego. It's not about the better thing. It's I see what you're doing, kid. I've done it, and you're on the right path, right? But I just think it'd be nice to see for you to encounter someone who's doing what you're doing, but really has cleaned up some of the stuff. And it's not to say you're not doing well, right? Not to say you're not doing well. I'm not trying to bust your ego here. Just be nice if we had that type of setting, because that's what I came into, was guys that were older and you could talk to them, and there's no big YouTube competition or social media competition, ego big, his blowing up. Guys that were less experienced could simply respect the guys that were elders to them, who had more experience. Wasn't an issue. I would love for that to be here, because I always want to give back to the hobby. When I see a guy like that who has real potential, doing pretty good, I'm like, I want to help him. I don't want to claim to be better than him. I just have more experience. I cleaned up the things where he's a little rough on them. And let me show him how I handle the same things. Right? Anyway, just want to talk about that. I hope Mike would connect, but if Mike takes this video the wrong way, maybe he doesn't want to talk to me at all. The Bro OSR, this is the big thing you guys have all been busting people's asses over. Like the downtime you guys are normal gamers. Like, just get off the pot. I could help you out a lot. If you get your egos and get your heads out of your asses a bit, because they're stuck up there somewhat, I could help you. I could legitimately help you. Okay. Tomorrow night on stream, I'm covering Alternity, one of the last games the TSR company put out. They were owned by WotC at the time, but they were still functioning as TSR. Right? That's going to be interesting. And then we got Villains and Vigilantes, that's what we got. Right? Anyway, and then we have some D&D combat encounters. And actually, that will happen Thursday. That'd be a good one for a lot of the bros to listen into. Just saying. Or at least guys that are more like Mike. Because I'm going to talk about how I do D&D encounters, combat and stuff like that. But not just combat, well, a mix of everything. Anyway. Okay.